In this video, we will be programming a peristaltic pump, a ratio mode reference master, on the iDoser environmental nutrient controller. Now from the home screen, we would do the following. We would hit enter menu, and then we would go to program equipment, hit enter menu. And in program equipment, we are at the first output. Hit enter menu to highlight the 01 on the left corner, and then hit next to highlight the none, hit plus to expand the none, and plus till you get to a pump equipment type, hit back. Now we want to hit next till we get to the select pump type. Now the iDoser has 4 pump types. It has supply, peristaltic, batch, and balance. But we want to program a peristaltic pump, and we'll simply hit next. Now there are 2 types of pump modes. There's volume or time, and to toggle between the two, you would simply hit the plus button or minus. And we want to use the volume setting. Hit next. And we come to pump flow rate. Now the pump flow rate depends on the pump. Now the value is important if you want an accurate measurement. Now there's 3 types of pumps. There's first the night pumps, which is 300 milliliters per minute, the Hone Light blue pump, which is 200 milliliters per minute, and the Hone Light orange pump, which is 500 milliliters per minute. But we're going to go ahead and use the night pump and leave this value of 300 milliliters as it is, and we're going to go ahead and hit next. Now on this screen we have ratio mode. Now if you want your pump to act individually, you would want to use the reference mode. If you want your pump to act as a ratio, you would use the slave mode. But for our example here, we're going to go ahead and leave it as reference mode with a scale factor of 1. Hit next. In this screen we have the probe controlling this pump. Now the pump will either turn on an EC or pH probe. You can choose different probe types by hitting the plus or minus button. And we're going to use EC. And we're going to use EC1 for tank 1. And hit next. Now EC is usually increase and pH is usually decrease because pH injects acids. Hit next. And we have hold time. Now the hold time is basically another dead band. Simply summarized, this probe reading must be above or below the set point for this duration, the hold time, before the injector pump will in fact be turned on. Hit next. Now in this screen we have set point. Now the EC probe set point can be up to 5,000 microsiemens. Hitting next gets us to that 5,000 value. You would use plus and minus to determine what values you want to input for your set point. And you also have the option to set a dead band as well. But what we're going to do is leave this at about 1,500 microsiemens. And we'll leave it at 1,500. Hit next. Now here we have an out light override. So if the out light gets greater than this threshold value, you would drive the EC to this value in microsiemens. And we're going to go ahead and set this for, we'll go ahead and put this at 600. And we'll make our microsiemens just for demonstration purposes. We'll settle for 500. Hit next. Now here we have a temp override that you can program. So if temp probe 1, 2, 3, 4, or one of the probes you have assigned in this field is above a certain threshold value, let's say 94.2, drive the EC probe to a certain value in microsiemens. And that's what you would do here. We'll put 700, 710, hit next. So if temp 6 is greater than 94.2, drive the EC to 710 microsiemens. hit next. Now on this screen we have injector volume. This amount is the amount of nutrient or acid that will be dispersed per injection. Note, if the pump is in volume mode, this volume value divided by the flow rate, which would be on the first screen, which was 300, times 60, will equal the time the pump will remain on. So basically, you would be using this formula. Time in seconds equals the volume divided by flow rate times 60. And for our example, we have 30 milliliters divided by 300 milliliters times 60 equals 6 seconds the pump will remain on. Next, we have the mix time. The mix time is the time between injections to mix the nutrients or acid in the tank before starting another injection cycle. Now the max injection is the max amount of nutrient or acid that will be injected in any given period of time, which is useful if you have like sensor failure. And this is basically setting your threshold in a specific time frame. And we'll leave the mix time at 30 seconds and we'll do a mass injection of, and this is just an example, 312 milliliters per whatever hour you input here, could be up to 24, and you use plus and minus to increase and decrease your values. Once inputted, hit next. And when you hit next, that brings you to number 1, and then hit back to the home screen, and that will in fact save your changes. And that's our video in programming a peristaltic pump, ratio mode, reference master on the iDoser environmental nutrient control.